thing.
Pick it. Pick it.
Ready?
Pick it. Pick it.
Do it.
Pick it.
Do it.
Pick it.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black. I'm blacker than black, yo, because I'm black and I'm back. Yo, I'm black and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, cause I'm black.
Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. How are you all feeling? It is a great Monday to be with you all. We are so excited. It's just going to be a great day. We are coming up on the end of Black History Month, but the beginning of Black History Year.
Fear not.
Just you wait.
Just
you wait.
All
And
year.
y'all, we get a bonus day in February. So
True.
it's a bonus day indeed.
True.
I'm glad everybody is here. So for this week, we are going to be going around the horn doing some quick news because right after this, we have a very special bonus episode that we're doing. So here's what this is going to do. I'll do this and I'll kick it over to Brian. We are going to record the bonus just for the Patty family today. So the video will be up there today. But as a special Doug Wagner birthday gift from me to you, I have made the decision to gift you all in honor of me turning 37. I have decided to gift you all this bonus the same day that we're going to release this episode. So cheers.
Such a gracious white.
Did you just call me a gracious white?
He did. He did. He did. I guess.
Thank you, gracious white. We just.
I mean, I don't even know.
Brian, hit us with that intro, my brother. What should they do about socials?
This motherfucker told me, hey, I would really love it if we could do this. And I went, I think I have a way to make it work. I find a way to make it work. So it seems like it makes sense and fun. And now all of a sudden I'm a gracious white. You know what, Brian? I need a break. You go, Brian.
It was
you go, funny. Brian.
Hey, folks, come with me on this transition. And I'm going to tell you about how you can follow us on socials. That is at Films in Black and White on Instagram. You can go find other clips where Marcus is roasting Doug just like this. You can also check us out on Facebook. We're at Films in Black and White on Facebook. And if you want to join our Patreon, that is the best way to support us in how Marcus roasts Doug. That is patreon.com/films in black and white. And you can enter one of our tiers. You can become basically one of the producers of the show. This is the best way to support this independent broadcast. We are completely user funded. We run the show. We do not answer to another company. We are not owned by a subsidiary or anything like that. We don't have anybody telling us what to promote, what to do, what to watch. So if you want to make sure this podcast stays like this, make sure you go to Patreon, sign up for one of those tiers. We'll get you in the Patty family and you'll get access to those bonus episodes that we're talking about.
That's right.
I like the Harriet Tubman of independent podcasts.
That's very true.
Freedom.
That's
really,
right.
It's the black in the black and white.
Really, Brian and I are just here to tell. We're here
as allies. As allies.
I was gonna say we're here to like.
Did you know that they used to
hide people
when they used to braid like the cornrows and stuff? They used to braid the maps into the hair. That's how like
I actually didn't know that.
I also did not know that.
They used to sometimes like braid the path in braid. That's like braiding. The design of the map or the directions would be in the braid. Happy Black History.
Wow,
that's.
I also did.
Harriet Tubman was a bad motherfucker. If you didn't read up on Harriet Tubman, Harriet Tubman was a bad motherfucker.
She deserves to be on the $20 bill. Like she just
like 5 years ago.
Oh, like she took like a flippin' like artillery round or something to the head.
Yeah.
She survived. She
was
a scout. Yeah,
she was gangster.
Scout for the
she
Union.
Was like,
she has like
she was a spy.
All right.
I want to say that she has like a confirmed. Man, I want to look this up, but I mean, she has a service record with the United States Union Army.
Okay,
Like, she was one of the first women combatants essentially to serve in a military role.
Gangster.
So she's that.
Super.
She's that.
Dude,
She's it.
She's one
I'm
of them.
all about
Not
this.
for fake. Not for
I'm-
play. She was with it.
I'm all
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
But in order to make sure this is great, I hope we get more of these little gems of information throughout the episode today. But Marcus J.
No.
Destin, aka Cam Newton Energy, or what looks like Cam Newton Orgy.
Wow.
How you feeling, sir?
Whatever you into. Listen, I'm here. I'm alive and in living color. We're gonna have a good pod today. If you don't know what Cam Newton Energy is, go look up the video of him manhandling 6 motherfuckers that tried to jump him. Okay. Cam Newton is 6'5", 240 plus. And some dudes tried to jump him at a football rec camp that he was throwing.
What?
And he put one in a headlock, manhandled the other one, slung the other one down. It was a beautiful video. All that
my
to say, if
gosh.
you fuck with me, I'm on my Cam Newton energy.
Wow.
Noted.
I,
Noted for
like,
today.
I just need
You
to
gotta
say
watch
out
the video.
loud. I need to say aloud, like that in no multiverse does that seem like a good idea of like that's Cam Newton. Let's get him. Like
No.
absolutely not. I'm literally gonna run the other way. That is I
No.
want no part of that. Like
No.
that,
That
just,
big mother, he was running through big linemen, like in his prime, was like now he's like got grown man weight, you know what I mean? Because he's not in the NFL anymore. But this motherfucker is huge, just off rib. I don't know if y'all remember him at Auburn.
And he's still been training because
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
just
yeah.
whether this is a pipe dream or not, I'm not commenting. This isn't football in black and white with Doug and Marcus and Brian. Like this is so
Very specific.
but he's been training because I think he's always been under the impression like I'll at least have a backup job somewhere.
He'll be ready.
yeah,
Mhm.
So
yeah.
he's not like this is not some dude that's like been sitting on his couch and is out of shape.
Mm-mm.
Like this man is ready to
Well,
go. So that was a
you-
poor decision.
And you know what fucks me up?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, just what fucked me up was Shannon Sharp was talking about the video today on First Take, and Shannon Sharp says Cam Newton is bigger than him and solid. And
Oh
I
my
said,
God.
what? So I guess he
See?
means taller than him and just more solid. And I'm like, well,
my
if
God.
that's the goddamn comparison, y'all obviously fucked
I
up.
mean, you look at this guy, you look at any of his Auburn tape, he is a one-man army. Like
Mhm.
he's a bulldozer. Like
Yeah.
Like that. He's like that.
Why? Like why? Why would you do this to yourself?
I'll tell you
I
what,
don't
it's
know.
egos, man. Don't let that ego get your ass whooped. But anyway,
Man.
Brian Roush, how are
Hello.
you feeling, my brother?
I'm feeling good to be here. This is
AKA
like
rumored to be merging with Paramount Plus.
yes, I am not going to confirm or deny the rumors. I may be merging with Paramount Plus. We'll
Okay.
get more into that later.
Did you tell your wife?
I did. She's
Brian TV Plus.
Yeah, she's unsure, but she's letting me kick the tires on Paramount Plus. It might be a three person situation. I'm not really sure. But yeah,
Between you and Maggie and Paramount Plus.
well, I'm having the lawyers look at it. This is I'm not confirming or denying anything. I just want to see what my options are to merge
So many questions.
with Paramount Plus. There's
So
just a
many
lot of risk for me as a
as
a living TV channel.
I mean,
can't
Maggie
keep
get
a
her
good
own. I mean,
phone.
Maggie would get her own crafting show. I would think at
Yeah.
the very least, which
Yeah,
is a win for everybody.
I mean, a solid
imagine
eight episode type reality.
part
crafting
about-
show.
The hard part about being in a throuple, I would imagine, is if the other two fall in love more with each other.
Oh, yep.
Oh, that's
You know what I
always
mean?
my concern. Like, it's a group of three. Like, that's eventually going to happen. Like, shout out to Tessa Thompson, because I'm assuming that's what happened to her and Rita Ora and Taka Waititi. She's a real one. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'll cover that in news later. But no, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good because this is the first time I've been like 100% healthy in about 3.5 weeks. So I'm feeling really good to be with my guys. I'm healthy. I'm not coughing. I don't have any weird
great.
stomach thing
love it,
happening.
Brian.
It's great. It's
Love
I'm
great.
proud of you. I'm so proud of
It
you.
probably means I'll be sick next week, but I'm gonna enjoy my time
Yeah, more
while
than
I
likely.
have it now. Okay.
Yeah, more than likely.
But
Yeah, that's
Doug,
okay.
how are you doing? Weird cookies as your time.
I'm doing real great.
Weird cookies, huh?
I'm tired,
I
you
guess so.
guys. Like I don't know what it is. This weekend has been a battle. Harrison and I were butting heads earlier today. So
Oh.
I
Yeah.
had two like just dad things that happened to me. The first is I've been fighting with them about new foods at dinner time, which has been
Yep.
a war of attrition. Whichever one can outlast the other one. I'm
You're in a
winning.
safe space.
I'm winning so far, but it's close.
It's taking a toll on you. I can tell.
It really is. And then the other thing is Harrison tonight asked me like why we have to get old, which was like the heaviest which is like the heaviest question I've ever received ever. And I think I handled it pretty well.
Okay.
My explanation was I got like super scientific. I was like, well, buddy, we're all made of atoms. And from the minute our atoms are created, that's a lot of wear and tear. And they get bigger and they grow with us. But kind of like an old car, they eventually sort of stop working. And I said,
oh, man.
But then I said, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Like nothing is supposed to last forever. Like that's just how it goes. And I expected tears. I expected what? And I was like, does that make you scared or nervous? He was like, nope, that makes sense. Back to magnetiles.
Hang on, I got to build this sick
Hold on. There's a gem that I'm making out of blue and red magnetiles. Thanks for the explanation about the mortality of life. But if I don't make this house out of magnetiles, my whole world is going to be in trouble. So
not to make it dads in black and white, but like that's the thing about kids that I'm continually always just in awe of. Like I really do feel like kids are way more forgiving than you think they are, and they're way more capable of understanding super nihilistic concepts like death. Like just they really are. And you think as a parent, these conversations are going to be like, there's a fire and you have a glass of wine and your child comes down. It's like, Father, Papa, tell me about the whims of mortality. And you're like, oh, I have this deep conversation. I'll tell you all about the travails of, like how you live. And no, that's like not how it is.
It's
ever.
not.
You're like losing your mind. It's loud. You're overstimulated. You're trying to load the dishwasher.
Or you're trying to take a shit by yourself, and one of them walks in and was like, "Hey, so why do we die?" And you're like, "I'm trying to make it through this experience, and this is the conversation."
That's exactly it.
Is that the setting of the conversation that you're
No. He was playing magnetiles, and I was doing the dishes, like, and he like
I feel like it's the kitchen
over.
It's something about the kitchen that makes it a safe space for them. They're like, oh, if like this goes south, like he's already doing something, so I can just leave. But then you're like, I can't get this stain out, and then your kid's like, am I gonna die?
And you're like, what? No. So it was a lot. Great conversation, but it's a lot. My Chiron comes from a repeat offender on my Facebook ads. So
be careful.
I want to make this very clear. I think Facebook is listening to me and listening to this podcast.
I don't disagree.
To let you all a little bit know about how the sausage is made, I record this podcast on my work computer because the camera is better, because you need to see this face in as high high resolution as possible.
Professor X greatness.
This beard should come in crisp. Is it because I'm bald that you said that, Brian?
Yes, it is 100%. Because we got Stephanie Williams coming next week.
That's true. We do. But
I'm not the only one cooking, Doug.
Both of you are. And so I will be scrolling through Facebook in the in between meetings, or like right when I get back from lunch, I'm trying to digest my turkey sandwich. And I got an ad about a few weeks ago that was for a Star Wars themed burlesque show.
Is it
called The Empire Strips Back. And it's not like it showed up once and then went away.
Oh no.
It shows up every fucking day. This thing shows up, and I have been shy about asking Brian about it because my fear is Brian's gonna think I'm some sort of demented pervert, and I'm not. So
okay.
And now Marcus is gonna say some shit, because this is the other reason why I didn't want to say anything, because he was gonna go, "What are you doing looking at that at work, man?" That was gonna be. You were about to give me.
I didn't say anything.
You were about to give me the 80s glasses lower, look at me through the top of your glasses, and I know Yeah, I know how this is gonna work.
I
I'm
was
gonna get
letting
shamed for this
letting
later.
my great white hope get his
Nope.
bit off. I was letting this gracious white.
Why is that my nickname? Brian's
Wow.
white too.
I am.
Brian's got
Yeah.
a lot of hope.
Should have used the cough button for that. I couldn't catch it in time. But
Brian is full of hope.
I
Brian's
just
all
Anyway,
hope, no
Brian,
stop.
can you explain about his cookies, man? What's going on with them cookies?
well, look. I'm the tech guy. Look, I yes, like part of my job, I work with tech. I talked with Doug about this. I can't figure out why your work computer is picking up the Empire Strips Back burlesque show. But I mean, in all honesty, people are like, Facebook's not listening to you. That would take so much stuff, and it's like, I don't really think so. They could just do keywords. Like they've never confirmed it or denied it. A lot of people think with those types of cookies, it's like what you search because the Google search will share that stuff, and Facebook will share it with Facebook Pixel because that Pixel will follow you around. But
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
if you're using two completely different browsers, one for work, one for personal, I wouldn't think it would make that jump, but
But
I mean,
we say things like Star Wars ass
we
fine. Like we say
Very
that
true.
out loud.
I
So
mean,
someone is listening.
I
don't know
also
if it works
feel like the Star Wars burlesque show is such a wide net, and they've had so much success that I feel like they're just like anyone literally 18 to 49 who has ever said anything about space, advertise it to them. Done.
Yep.
That
Are they
would
a
not
are
surprise
they
me
a
at all.
dude that's into Star Wars? Show
Yeah.
them this. They'll
Yeah,
like
That's
pretty
true,
much.
though. That's true.
Pretty much.
That's very true.
Like that net is so wide. Like
It's
when the
very
show
wide.
came to Chicago, my best friend's wife was like, "Oh yeah, I got an ad for it too." Like I mean, like it.
Okay,
it
good.
was
So it's not
loaded.
it's not just me, which is
no.
great.
No,
Okay, good. That's good.
no.
I
And
th- I
no, I
felt-
wouldn't
I
think
felt
you're some
atta-
type of.
I felt attacked by being some sort of like
That was
weird
close.
Star Wars sexual deviant.
No,
And I was
I
like,
don't-
hey, Facebook, quit with the judgments and assumptions.
Look, I don't think you're some kind of deviant. Honestly, I think it's pretty like vanilla as far as stuff goes. I mean, like I was a kid that grew up in the early 2000s AOL. Like that was the Wild West, and there was some weird stuff there that I definitely should not have seen as a kid.
Brian, we all
but
know what ASL
Right,
with a question
like-
mark means.
just a whole generation of
Ass
like
so large.
Nope, it's age, sex,
No.
location.
Oh,
That was
I
a
was close.
real question. That
was
was a
close.
real question. That's
and
right.
it was like general chat too. It wasn't just like in
Wow.
special chat rooms. It
Hey,
was just,
hey,
like,
my name's Doug. Oh, hey, Doug. ASL question mark. That was just how people. And you were talking. They're
So-
talking about like chairs. Like
Yeah.
that's just how shit worked.
Wow, I did not know that. I just okay.
in the chat, people want to know, are you going to go see the show, Doug? That's, I mean, that we
No,
gotta figure
because
this
the
out.
other thing is that my work computer thinks I'm in Denver, so it keeps showing me shit.
Oh my
from Denver.
gosh, that's
So,
so
like-
funny.
So to be honest with you, that's probably more why I get it than anything.
Honestly,
because it's in Denver and my
Okay.
time zone thinks that that's where I am.
Yeah.
That
South Dakota's
dude,
a
that's
little bit
probably
too
why.
conservative to be showing you burlesque like
Yes.
ads.
Yes.
South Dakota would just be banned.
I
it
have
altogether.
you got one layover in the Denver airport, and suddenly they just think that's where you live. So
That's how
where it is.
my Tinder works.
Yeah. Where does it think you are?
I just wherever the last place that I was
That's
in a
hilarious.
layover.
Hey, you want to
So-
see these honeys from Phoenix, Arizona? I was there
No.
for 5 minutes. That's
No,
not a thing I want to
I'm
see.
not traveling to go see them, so
I'm
no,
not
I don't
gonna
want
do
to go see them. I have,
Gentlemen-
I have an obnoxious question after
Okay.
Catch That Quotable for you all, but it's very
Excellent.
personal. So if you don't want to answer it, we'll just say live on air. We don't want to answer it, but I have an
Okay.
intriguing question.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we gotta get to
All right.
catch that quotable, y'all. We
Let's
got a
do
fun
it.
game. We gotta.
I want to
play.
catch it.
Catch that quotable.
The silky sounds.
Also-
of Marcus J.
Shout out to Bubbler. Bubbler, I love you, and ain't another bubbly above you. Shout out to you, baby.
Make sure to sign up for the
Hey.
Patreon so you can see Doug's face.
Hit me. I told y'all I was on chaos. I told y'all. I
Amazing.
warned you.
Amazing.
I just
Come
don't
on,
need
Doug.
it. I just don't need it from both of you. Are you ready for this week's quote?
Hit me.
Hit me.
Hit me.
Hit me.
Oh, I don't think I'm a lot dumber than you think that I thought that I was once.
Oh fuck! I know. Fuck.
I know this just from reading
Oh,
it.
you know this one? Okay.
Yeah, I know
good.
it.
Good.
Oh, I don't think I'm a lot dumber than you think that I thought I was once.
Give me a hint, dude. Give me like one hint. Give me a year. You know, like the year the movie
Oh,
was,
Jesus. When was that?
or range, just a range.
Like 2004 to like
Man.
2007.
Damn. I'm not dumber than I'm not. It's not Dumber and Dumber, the sequel. Actually, it might be Dumber and Dumber, the sequel. Actually, it might be. What's this one? What's the newest one where they found out he had a daughter?
Dumb and Dumberer.
Dumb
Oh
and
my
Dumberer?
gosh.
Yeah.
My guess is gonna be Dumb and Dumberer.
Okay. Brian?
I don't feel good about this.
No. Or is it Dodgeball? Damn.
Yeah. I'm locking in
I think it's
dodgeball.
Dodgeball.
It is.
I think
It
it's
is dodgeball. I don't need. I don't need to. It is dodgeball.
Yeah,
it is
good.
dodgeball.
Yeah.
Good.
Because immediately after I heard what Marcus said, I was like, "No one makes me bleed my own blood."
Yeah,
And so
that's
it's
exactly
locked in my
yep.
memory.
Yep. So this is Dodgeball, a true underdog story, said by Ben Stiller's character White Goodman.
Oh, bro.
Roman. My name is a hint, and his name is Throne Wrench.
Well, if you can dodge a ball,
You can dodge a
You
wrench.
can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball. Well, that was a good one. That was the first
That was
time we
good,
got
man.
to that. Been a while since we've gotten through that so quickly, and we weren't also
No.
trying to prove a point.
That's true. And we made $50 off of it.
So, yep,
we're up to 50. We're up to 50.
Up to 50. Up to
All
50.
right.
Marcus, you had a deeply personal question that you wanted to ask us before we started. So what do you got?
I'm gonna set the field here a little bit.
Okay.
Remember, okay,
Mhm.
before you all had multiple children and your wives love you dearly. Okay.
Oh boy. All right.
When we all grew up nerds for the most part, nerdy
Confirmed.
for the most part. Is that
Mhm.
fair?
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
What was the first? This is very. I don't know if you want to share this on here. We all felt nerdy up to that point until we got some ass, right? Until we had sex, made love for the first time.
Wow.
All
right.
The feeling after.
Okay.
The feeling. Just stick with me here. The feeling after, right? Your first time, and in our nerdy selves, right? What was your first thought? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that moment is such a big shift in everything of like, for me, I'll speak for me. It was like, I never thought it would be me. Like that just happened to me. Like, I'm the motherfucker that was just watching.
Yeah, there's
like,
a
you know what I
sense
mean?
of it.
Like,
There was a sense of incredulousness that was like there, of like a sense of like, oh shit, that like just happened. Like,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you got to wake up, and you still wake up the nerdy self, but now you're the nerdy self that like had sex.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but
There's something that changes.
But you're talking about like the week after. I mean, like the week after, I was like, wow, that's
like you had some time pass.
That happened.
Yeah, not immediately after, but like when you had some time to think on it, you're still playing Dungeons and Dragons, you're reading a comic book, and then you just have a flashback, and
playing Magic the Gathering, tapping.
See what I'm saying? You know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's right.
And so you have that moment of like, oh shit,
hitting my friend's planeswalker for some damage. Yeah, I get it.
You just very specific, but you're just like, oh fuck that happened. Like,
I'm gonna tap this mana because I just tapped that. Yep, I see what you're saying.
I shouldn't have brought it up. I shouldn't have brought it up.
This is what happens.
I shouldn't have brought it up. That's on me. That's my fault. Because Brian has gotten quiet, and Doug said, I just tapped that mana, so I added because I tapped that ass. That's what they said. I shouldn't have brought it up. Let's move on. Let's go to our first news piece. I shouldn't have asked my friends an intimate question live on a podcast with no warning.
Well, Marcus, Roman, if he's not going to specify, then I'm going to just keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roman. Because Roman goes, yes, how you felt, not a play-by-play.
That's all I asked for, Roman. Thank you.
Brian, do you have anything to contribute?
So I won't answer the question directly on air, but I will say that throughout most of my childhood, like I was not in a relationship. Like that was just me. And even if it didn't really, none of that stuff really connected,
Like,
even just the
mattered, right?
relationship aspects of it until like my senior year, really, of high school. And it was like this weird validation thing of just like, I don't know. I just saw so many images in media and other stories where it was just like, these people don't like have relationships, or like it's very hard for them. And then like after I was in a relationship senior year, it was like, oh, like I can be in a relationship and someone actually like cares about me for me, and I can still love talking about, you know, the specifications of X-Wings and how many laser cannons they have and like all like this weird stuff. And it was a weird self-validation thing for me.
And that's what I wanted. That's right. That's really the moment right there. Is like,
okay, I
that
see how
moment.
this is.
Yeah. I don't know what you. Doug left. He leaves. Bring your ass back in here.
I
Doug.
see how
Where
this
you
goes.
going?
I see how it is. That's what I wanted. Well, then
Bring
fucking you can
no,
have it then.
That's not what I was saying. I only that's kind of the premise of why I asked, because I was thinking of it of like, I was watching these movies right this weekend of Don't Be a Menace, and then obviously I ended up down a rabbit hole of like watching Pootie Tang, and then watching Blank Man, and then watching you know, everything Wayne's Bros. And I realized for me, a lot of my sense of humor came from watching these shows. A lot of what I find funny came from like that Dave Chappelle era, Wayne's era, all of that. But then I started thinking about like the relationships that I had and the relationships that I was in at the time. And I was like, man, it felt good to know I was still this nerdy kid that didn't just switch up on everything after like life happened. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that wouldn't tell you, wouldn't tell you that this is their sense of humor, would be ashamed of it. Then I was like, well, no, I was never ashamed of it. Like, I would gladly tell people, like, is this movie appropriate now? Probably not. But man, you know, that's what it was at the time. But then I started thinking about, like, I appreciate the fact that I was with somebody, and then I started thinking about this part of like being able to share in a space where you can still just be you. Yeah. And then I appreciated having somebody that I could, like Brian said, you know, you have these happenings happen, and then you can still be yourself after the fact. And I was just curious as to what that looked like for y'all, because Brian's right. The images, what's displayed, a lot of this movie had me reflecting on like my childhood and a lot of like my culture and my people and like what the pressures are and all that other stuff. So it was just a question that I just had about. It was a real roundabout way to get there, but like usually sex for guys, for cisgendered straight men and nerdy guys is just it's different. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like a shifting or a tilting point for a lot of people of how they act and how they move. And
I would say, I would say to kind of boost what Brian said. I mean, I would say relationships in general for folks for the majority of their, you know, late middle school, high school days felt like they were on the fringe. Like finally getting the one thing that, you know, everybody else seemed to have, but you somehow eluded you.
That's such a good way to put it.
It's so validating, whether that's a physical relationship or not. You know, everybody makes different choices for themselves. So like for me, it like when I got to college and I had my girlfriend for the first time, and that was the type of relationship we had. Yeah, that was very validating. It's also like reflecting back on it, I think movies particularly can be hard when you don't have media literacy to back them up, because 100%. you start to think that the trends and things that you see just as relationships by themselves and what people do for love, it starts to go like, oh no, that's what a relationship is. But then you start to think about it and you actually get into one and you're like, that was not even remotely close.
That's not right.
It's not it's a complete fiction. So like I think that's what's hard, right? Because you're right, like that's a great point, because it always felt like, I remember when I was younger, when I was in like middle school, high school, feeling very alone and feeling because I was always the third wheel. I was always the third, fifth, seventh odd man out of like, you all are going on a date. Yeah, Doug's going to come with, because that's what you do when you're in high school and you date. Like you and your significant other go with other people to do things.
It's a very weird stage in life.
It's a very weird stage.
Very strange.
You don't actually do anything by yourself. You just go do things together with other people
in pockets, and then they happen to sneak off and go kiss and do other stuff while y'all are.
And then they leave.
Very weird. It's
you
very
drive
weird.
there together, but you're mostly hanging out with other people.
Yeah.
And so, but I remember all of my friends were like in committed relationships, or that's what they were talking about, who they thought was attractive, who they were going to ask out. And 100%. It was always like, but again, that was over a game of fantasy Warhammer, or it was over a game of Magic, of us talking about what we wanted in a girlfriend and things like that. So I think it's a very validating thing when you finally get in that relationship.
And I think that that's the difference for me is I was not playing those kind of games with the people in the crowd that I was in, because that wasn't the norm, right? And so football, I was playing football, I was in choir, like that kind of stuff, state choir, all that kind of stuff. That was like my thing, but really playing football and sports. And so the conversations are clearly more different and animated, to say the least. And the pressures are a little bit more just there to do those things. So of course you don't share that nerdy side. But I just remembered my one friend Malik is the one that put me on to these kind of TV shows and this kind of media. And without him, I never would have fallen down this realm of, that's understanding parody, understanding it's making fun of a thing, and understanding this thin line of, and we'll talk about it more in the thing of like, there was a very serious moment I had of watching this movie. Don't Be a Menace in South Central While Sipping a Juice in the Hood is the movie that we're reviewing in the bonus. And it's a parody about black exploitation and black trauma films and things of that nature, right? And it's a very thin line of being understood. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how sex is where it started, but then it really boiled down to like, man, I really appreciate it after I had that first moment that the person I was with understood my nerdiness at its core, because it could have gone in a different direction that would have put me down a different path of like, oh, no, that's not cool. She hates that. I'm not going to ever look at this type of media again, and could have changed the trajectory of everything that I actually love right now. Does that make sense?
100%.
It's 100%. I just thought about that very thin line that you walk of like, our lives could have gone a completely different direction just off of one thing, you know what I mean? Like one moment,
a decision, right?
A decision, or a
perception. Series of choices.
You know what I mean? Like somebody's outside perspective being like, oh my God, you like that? I can't believe you did that. I slept with you.
I mean,
that is so nerdy, and it could change everything.
I mean, honestly, I wish I had a podcast like this growing up, because being able to hear three dudes who they have jobs, they have hobbies, they have lives, like it's not hopeless. Like they took it with them, and it made them who they are, and it's a part of them, and it's not something they're like fighting or hiding or like they have to suppress or something like that. Like I feel like that's I didn't have that growing up at all. Like I had American Pie, like that was like anyway, this is what teenagers are doing nowadays, and I was like, this is not like, it's a funny movie, but like I cannot relate
that's not
to
like
literally
all.
any of this, like, and you know, like
thanks,
we got the chat asking
honestly, Roman, yes, but you got to find out in the pod, in the bonus episode, why that's a yes. Pootie Tang had much more of an impact on me than I thought it did. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. The last thing I'll say is this. I think it's really easy. I think what I've always been really appreciative of is that the people that I hang out with as friends, like even at high school, like there was always like a through line. And the through line was they always tried to make fun of, they always made fun of me when I tried to be something other than myself. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So like my group of friends in high school, if you were like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with the cool kids, they would have given you, my friends would have given me a hard time. There would have been jokes. They would have been, if I said that there was a date, they would have found out where we were going. They would have tried to like, you know, Like that's just the people that they were.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
that's who I've chosen to affiliate myself with now. People who, like, if I tried to be, when I made a joke about tapping this and then tapping that, there wasn't like a, oh yeah, he did. It was like, shut the fuck up. Like there was
I
this
knew
sort of,
exactly what you were talking about.
you know what I mean? Like there's that sense of like everybody. I think it's
Yeah.
important to surround yourself with folks who are going to encourage and support you to be
Absolutely.
you. Like
Absolutely.
that's fundamentally
Yep.
the most important
Yep,
thing. And
absolutely.
that's, Brian, I completely agree. I wish I had like a podcast like this when I was
I absolutely agree.
coming up.
I
So, yeah.
absolutely agree. So yeah,
So-
no, thanks for answering my random question.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Brian, want to kick us off with your first
Hello.
piece of news?
Yes.
Brian.
Hello. My news broke last week, but we covered Madam Web. So you know how that went. We didn't have a lot of other time for things. So basically, this has kind of been in the swirl of things. So the Wall Street Journal broke the news last week that Comcast and Paramount have been in recent talks about a potential streaming partnership. And that could basically see Paramount Plus and Peacock being offered to subscribers as a package deal. Now, if you've been following Paramount, this is a very interesting saga. Bloomberg did a piece about a week ago talking about how Paramount, it's in bad shape, folks. That's the executive summary here. Paramount, yeah, things are real bad over at Paramount. It's not great. It's looking pretty grim to the point. Now, this is from the Bloomberg article. We can link it back, but essentially, they have this reporting that's saying that there are people interested in buying Paramount because the value is going down because Paramount Plus hasn't been able to make a profit. Essentially, there's a whole long sad story of how they got there. It involves Showtime. It involves really bad management, some bad bets, some people keeping the business maybe longer than they should have because of family ties. I also learned that Netflix and Paramount back in like 2018, I think is what the date was, they looked at possibly merging. And looking back at that now, it's just kind of bonkers that they didn't take advantage of that, knowing where Netflix is now. So going back to this current news, essentially, Paramount is essentially looking at all the suitors, is what this boils down to. Max. Max has been looking at buying Paramount wholesale. And now we have Comcast looking at least merging their service, Peacock, with Paramount Plus. So if you're watching on our live stream, we got the moving chyron going, that cable. It's back, baby. So that's my news. It seems that Paramount Plus is looking for a dance partner. And right now it looks like it's going to be the Peacock.
Brian, I have a question. This doesn't seem to insinuate. Does the article say that they're going to get access to all of their IP as well?
So essentially, the technical language is that it would be a streaming partnership.
Got it.
That would be offered to subscribers as a package deal, and it would make accessing the two platforms at the same time comparatively cheaper because it would only be one subscription.
Got it. Okay. Then
Yep.
I think that, I mean, to be honest with you, sad times for Peacock, but it's good for the consumer because it's one less thing that you have to subscribe to. So it does eliminate a streaming service. I mean, the cost will be really important to watch as to what that will be. The reason why I asked the IP question is because Peacock has Paramount has all of that normal, like all that like individual programming, like Yellowstone, 1883, 1923,
the Yellowstone universe.
The Yellowstone universe. It has all of the Nickelodeon stuff, past, present, and future.
It does.
So if you think about, like, when I was thinking about the IP, I was like, shit, you're gonna send that over to Universal, and now Universal has all of it. Like, and that's a really big bundle of IP to suddenly have, and can now be a real competitor to things like Disney and so on and so forth. So yeah,
I agree.
Interesting.
I mean, man, we kind of, I don't want to kiss our own ass, but I do feel as if, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong in all seriousness, I feel like we mentioned this when we first heard Paramount and Peacock were starting their own streamers, and then we had a conversation a couple months later once they were out about there wasn't enough content on both of them to be two separate apps.
We did.
We did that in our full, I think it was the the state of streaming, to be honest.
State of
with you.
streamers last year, I want to say.
Yep.
So we had already predicted that The Office, and this is not a slight, that things like The Office and Office Plus and Fast and Furious weren't enough to hold over a streaming service. I don't even remember the last time I opened Peacock, because it's the same rotation of movies, and then it's those weird C and D movies that they do copycats of, like Pacific Rim. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we predicted this, and now Disney and Hulu is combined together. Paramount and Peacock looks like it could be combined together.
Yeah,
I feel like it's cheating if HBO Max somehow slides in there and picks up Paramount, because HBO and Nickelodeon, I mean, you're right, Doug, that's a lot of IPs.
That's a lot of IP.
I feel like it looks like the strategy right now is that if Zaslav and company over at WB Max, if they're gonna do a partnership with Paramount Plus, they want all of it. So
yeah, and they probably don't want to let go of their IP in order to be. They want to be able to retain some of those rights, and that's why that won't happen.
I don't think Max is in the position that Peacock is in. Like, Max is fine. Like, they're doing just fine, and I feel like Peacock and Paramount Plus are these two people at the bar at the end of the night, and they're like, well, I'm feeling like a 5. I'm not gonna get better than a 6 here, so I better find somebody to do something with. And I feel like that's where we're at here, is that they know they need to make a move. And I mean, Paramount Plus is like fighting for their life. You get it for free if you sign up for Walmart Plus. I don't know if people know that, but basically it's like Walmart. You do. Like, you go to Walmart and sign up for their whatever service they have, you just get Paramount Plus free. Which is just, I don't know, like it's entering this weird.
It's the equivalent of Amazon's, like, you get a streaming service with your shipping service. It's just it's now you get a streaming service with your groceries.
And the funny thing about
how it works.
And the funny thing about it is just like Paramount Plus, from a material standpoint and a show standpoint, it's just too little too late, because they didn't make enough original content, and that stuff is super expensive to make, and there's no money for them left in it. Like, they just didn't make the right call when streamers like started having dominance, which is making Sony look like one of the smartest in the bunch right now, basically having all the stuff go to Netflix. I think 9 months after it's in theaters. Like, it's committed, it's done. Netflix is the biggest one of the market share right now. So anyway, a deal might be coming your way soon to log into Peacock and Paramount Plus at the same time.
Wild times.
It's very interesting with the CBS football stuff too, sports, like them getting a hold of that I'm surprised that didn't boost their whatever, because they do a lot of those Nickelodeon games, they do a lot of that, you know. I don't know if that's exclusive, but I know to stream the Super Bowl, we stream the Super Bowl through Paramount, right?
Yeah, we did. And that was the other reason that they went really hard in the paint to like tell people about Paramount Plus, to tell people to go to Paramount Plus, because they knew they had 125 million whatever people watching. Now this was going to be it.
But what else are they watching after the game is over? You know what I mean?
I mean,
would you like to watch a bunch of episodes of Young Sheldon after the game?
No,
you wouldn't.
Man,
or that show, The Hunter Gatherer, or whatever it is he's doing, hunting people down. The guy from This Is Us.
Yeah. Well, Halo is releasing weekly, I think, or they just finished releasing weekly, essentially.
What's that?
But it's only 8 episodes.
Well, and I watched the first 2 episodes of that.
What is
first
Halo?
3? It's based off of the Xbox video game.
Yeah. Oh, I heard that was dog shit.
The first 3 were.
I mean, I think it's fine. I definitely So just to like make it clear in the chat, my wife watched Young Sheldon after the game. We are always not the target audience, I think, is a good point.
You want to know something? Good for her. I hope she enjoyed it.
I'm glad she enjoyed Young Sheldon.
You know what? I'm proud of her for sticking to Peacock.
That's a Paramount Plus.
Sorry, Paramount Plus.
It's okay. It's all right. They might merge. Who cares?
They might merge. Who cares?
But I mean, I don't know. We can do a whole Halo like autopsy later.
What was that tweet? Paramount and Peacock Mount Cock.
Jesus Christ. You're welcome. And Roman, You're welcome. Anytime. That's the type of content you can count on us here at Films in Black and White.
Can that be the AKA? I doubt it.
Man, I don't even know what else you do. Like
P-mount?
Paramount Peacock? Nope, that's not a
Mm-mm.
P-mount. Nope, that's not happening.
Cock mount.
Bird Mountain.
Peapot.
Bird. I mean, why aren't they hiring us as marketing strategists right now? Mountain Bird app.
Mountain cock? No, that's not gonna work.
Oh.
It really is.
Off-putting.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Marcus, what do you have for news, sir?
Man, I don't even know where to start. There was a couple screenshots that I took that I just want to just bring up.
Okay.
All little bits of news that everybody can just comment on.
Bits and bobs with Marcus J.
One, the SAG Awards were last night. No, I don't
remember
who won. I just know Pedro Pascal got something and he was so drunk that when he gave his speech. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Good for him.
He said he was drunk when he gave the speech, and he got one for The Last of Us. And there was a couple other people that I liked that won as well. First piece of news that I thought was interesting via Deadline, but via Screen Time on X or Twitter. The line, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. Christopher Nolan says he's plagued by that line in The Dark Knight because he didn't write it. His brother Jonathan wrote it. He said, quote, "It kills me because it's the line that resonates the most." And I thought that was very interesting and a cool fun fact.
Good for him for saying that his brother wrote that.
He could have easily said, like, you know what? That was me, baby. I did that.
He
did not.
Because I'll tell you what, a lot of rappers love that line. Jay-Z immediately used that line in like a bar in 444. You know what I mean? Or he used it in some verse.
He did. He did.
But I thought that was fire because that is a fire line from that movie that I think it's so original, right? Like, I don't think it's something as far as I know, I've never heard before. I don't think they quoted it from something else.
So,
but I don't know. It's just one of those that goes down in history.
Aaron Eckhart's delivery of it, though, I feel like should be mentioned too, because it's such a grimdark movie, and he says the line at like this wonderfully highbrow restaurant, like as he's buttering his bread, and he's got a jovial face on, and knowing he turns into Two-Face,
the innocence of him. Aaron Eckhart deserved more from The Dark Knight. It honestly steals the show. Like, I know we talk about the Joker, right?
Sure.
And we talk about Heath Ledger. Thank you. We talk about Heath Ledger because he absolutely killed it. But Aaron Eckhart is like that in The Dark Knight. Like, I think The Dark Knight for me is above the third one. Well, I forgot what the name of the third one is. Rises. Yeah, Dark Knight Rises. I think that one. I think it goes. Actually, it's number one. I think it's The Dark Knight. Then I think it's The Dark Knight Rises, and then I think it's Batman Begins. That's my order.
Ooh, okay. All right. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So that's me. All right, the second one. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Dennis Villeneuve says movies have been corrupted by TV because, quote, "I'm not interested in dialogue at all. Pure images and sound. That is the power of cinema. Quote, frankly, I hate dialogue. Dialogue is for theater and TV. I don't remember movies because of a good line." And that is via the times.co.uk article. Dennis Villeneuve, director of the second Sand movie, Dune 2. Thoughts? Doug dropped his head. So, any thoughts?
I mean,
they are
Look,
just because it's on a screen doesn't mean it's the same medium, and doesn't mean that you need to constantly compare it or justify your choices as a director. I don't give a shit why you don't like dialogue. Go nuts, man. You want to make my eardrums bleed in the theater while I fuck a popcorn bucket? Go nuts. I don't give a shit. Like, I just don't like. Okay, Dennis Villeneuve. Cool. Thanks for telling me. Like,
just, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if there's a beef or is everybody trying to get back to drawing a line in the sand between TV and movie stars, or, there was one point during the pandemic, everybody was like, we want to bring, there was a silver screen and then you're on the big screen. And it seemed like there was this transition to have, you can have the same experience, big screen experience right from your house. And I know everybody hates streaming or whatever the case may be, but now it feels like there's a certain beef of everybody pointing the finger at each other. And I don't know where it stems from.
It feels like an overcorrection. Go ahead, Brian.
I feel like now that Marvel has kind of been knocked off the pedestal a little bit, and like it's not the predominant like reigning champ, I feel like these questions are being asked to like, it's kind of like streaming. I feel like streaming is now like what people comment on, or like movie stars. Because Natalie Portman also had like a quote in the wild about like, my kids don't know movie stars, but they know YouTube people or whatever. And I'm like, why are you talking about this? And I feel like this is kind of in that same vein of like trying to pick on like streaming or TV, because a lot of people keep talking about how like we're in this golden age of TV, of just really good TV. And I don't know. I just don't feel like it's a dichotomy. I mean, for cinematography, it is important. And I do remember images, and images speak to me a lot as someone that sometimes like has a hard time understanding dialogue, not because of like complicated dialogue, but being dyslexic and the way that shows up for me. I don't always hear things the way that other people do. So like, that's why images always resonate with me more a little bit at first. But like, that's not to say that like dialogue doesn't impact me. Like, I absolutely remember dialogue from flippin' Marriage Story with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. Like, that stuff sticks with me. I think about that like almost every other month, like in all honesty, and the dialogue that they used and how those actors are acting in that space. I don't know.
Not 2 minutes ago, we talked about a line that from a Christopher Nolan movie,
great point,
a piece of dialogue that has had staying power for years.
Yes.
So like, you're right, Brian. They're very powerful. Like, I think about like Blade Runner 2099, like the imagery in that, another Denis Villeneuve movie, like the images in that are huge. Like, and it conveys such a sense. But there is a certain portion of this that like, I don't know, it's hard to drive a story. There's a reason why we've moved past the silent era of film,
right,
to start doing audio, because it contributes so much to like the overall experience and how we consume stories. So you're right, like visuals are so important, and I guess you're right, like some resonate with others.
The job,
like it's that I kind of what I was going to say. It feels like, you know, you kind of need one without the other, not all the time, but to tell a complete story, maybe.
Like, movies are a team sport. I just you need it all. This just kind of feels like, you know what, I don't really like going on defense. You know, defense has ruined the game. It's just like, what? Like, you gotta find a way to work with it.
David,
like,
this is soccer. You have to do both. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I feel like,
I don't know.
If dialogue wasn't important, then they wouldn't give awards for it. They would only give awards for just how things look and how things sound.
Yeah, great.
And that's just not the reality of the life we live on. It's half the job. Now, maybe he's saying that TV has, you know, kind of pushed people to think that there's more dialogue than what is to be expected in movies. But if anything, I would expect movies to have way more dialogue than, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not watching Doom. Maybe that's, never mind. That's a whole different thing.
I mean,
that's a whole different thing. But
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting thing to say. It feels like it's on purpose to get people to talk about it, but also like
Dune 2's coming out. He needed something.
I don't know.
I don't think here's the thing. Here's where it gets dangerous, right? It looks like he could be right by perception alone, when all the reviews for Dune are fucking fantastic so far.
I mean,
every review I've seen has been that this movie tops itself 3 times over.
Then you want to know something? Then my first review in a public setting will be, looks great, too much talking.
That sounds like such a misogynistic review. You know what I mean? Like such a like a man, like a terrible review of anything.
It feels like one of those really popular YouTube channels. Like that. It feels like that's the opening line for
they
it.
Should talk
like,
hey, before you hit the subscribe button, let me tell you my review of Dune in 30 seconds. Looks really great. too much talking. Now go ahead and slam that
It-
subscribe button and we'll get into the deets.
It's giving. I can't remember which of the Paul brothers said it, but it was like when they commented on Oppenheimer or whatever, and it
That
was
was the
just
theme
like,
song.
yeah, too much talking.
Yeah, they
You know,
did
and,
say
and
that.
it's just like,
And it went on to win several awards, so it showed you exactly what the fuck. We don't take reviews from the damn boxing brothers.
yeah. I
Like
can't
that
remember
part.
which Paul it was, but oh my
think it was
god,
Logan.
I was embarrassed for him. I read
Wrestler
through
Paul.
that.
No. Anyway, last 2 bits of news from me.
Let's do it.
There's
Bits and pops.
two of them are Marvel, and so real quick shot. Brie Larson was asked about when is she returning as Captain Marvel in the MCU.
Oh baby.
Her response, Brian, was, "I don't have anything to say about that."
Oh, she's filming. she's
Think so.
actively filming something.
Think
right
so.
then.
A lot of people think she is donezo. Like there is no Captain Marvel 3, so that's interesting. Anyway, I'll go to my next piece of news. Last one. Marvel Studios has reportedly removed the Serpent Society from Captain America Brave New World. The movie's final battle has also been changed throughout reshoots. And the Thunderbolts has
Wow.
begun filming. So, any thoughts on
Wow.
any of that?
So the rumor,
I mean,
the rumor is
with
that the
all
Serpent Society is completely out.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. Because they are going through massive reshoots right now.
Man, how bad was that movie?
It sounded bad.
The movie
It
had to be
sounded
pretty
really
bad.
Especially
That
with the
movie had
route
to be
Marvel
pretty
is
bad.
going of less is more lately.
Yeah.
And so they aren't dropping as much. So I'm sure that they want to make sure whatever the fuck they're putting out is top-notch shit that cannot fail.
Man, I mean,
Remember we were dropping movies, 5 Marvel movies in 1 year? Woo!
I mean, that was 2021, baby. It was Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals. Have you had enough? No, you haven't. It's time for Spider-Man. Get in that seat.
God damn.
I mean, here's the thing. Like the Serpent Society has always been a joke, and I think it's a long-running joke, and I think the joke is funny. So I would have enjoyed it, but I totally understand why they would cut it for general audiences, like because it probably doesn't add anything, and it's the butt of a joke. If you've watched Invincible, they even make fun of it. They call it the Lizard League. Like, and it's the same thing of like all these nobodies just trying to be something and they're not. So fascinating development.
Yeah.
If that comes to pass.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's it. That is really interesting.
Doug, what
Awesome.
you got for us, brother?
Here's what I got. I want to talk about Kevin Costner for a minute.
I know him.
So Kevin Costner today revealed the trailer for his big American epic, his big Western film.
Okay.
And this is a big deal because he walked away from Yellowstone to do this movie. So if y'all remember, he was a big deal on Yellowstone. I don't actually watch the show, but I've heard enough about it. But he walked away. He was like, I'm done with Yellowstone. They're going to write me off or whatever, or I just won't be in any episodes. I don't even know what they did. And it was to go and shoot this particular movie that he wrote and starred in, and I think even help executive produce. So like he
wrote
is,
it? Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So it is going to be a 4-part post-Civil War Western epic. So this is a 4-part movie. These are 4 separate movies that comprise.
There are 4 movies.
There are 4 movies that are going to compose this whole storyline called Horizon: An American Saga.
Who is
This is Kevin Costner. He is quoted. It's going to come out. The first film is coming out June 28th, followed by the second movie 2 months later.
No.
So the first one comes out June 28th. The second one comes out September 28th.
Where? Comes out
in theaters here.
What?
In theaters, in live, living color. That is where it's going.
Okay,
it's a really good question.
I'm so curious what the strategy here is.
But wait, there's more.
Oh
so he has come out and said a quote. Who is he doing an interview with? Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna read this. Kevin Costner is quoted in this Hollywood Reporter article saying, when no one wanted to make the first one, I got the bright idea to make 4. End quote. So I don't know what's wrong with me, but I wanted it to step away from what we usually see in Westerns, where there's a town that's already there. No one knows how the town came to be, and the guy comes off in the horizon, if you will. So this whole fucking Western is going to stem from how the West is settled, bigger, to then now it's established, to then there's shit that happens in the town that affects everybody.
I don't want to watch that in a theater.
That's a great point. I also, having watched the trailer twice today, find the imagery around Native Americans deeply troubling.
Oh no.
I mean, look, when I
no.
think of people who can write native stories, Kevin Costner
Is not on my
that
list.
on the list
He is
for
not.
me.
Motherfucker.
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, like, do what you like, I guess. But
Yeah.
I would feel nervous. I would feel nervous with having Kevin Costner write native stories.
Now, I'll give it credit. It seems like they're trying to tell the story of a Native family, and it could be that they're trying to show. It could be that they are trying to tell. They are trying to show both sides of the coin here, right? Like the expansionist mindset of those settling, and those of the folks who are being settled upon, who are having their land taken. Like, and so it seems like maybe they're trying to tell that story from sort of type of split lens. What I can tell you, and I'll post a link to the Hollywood Reporter article that has the trailer. I'll post that in the show episode description. There's a lot of like really strong flag waving, manifest destiny, like level imagery that's throughout this trailer that when I watched it, I went, why are we still doing this? Like what? Like why? Like why is this? I know this story. I've read a history book. Like I know that we stole this land. We painted them as savages who wanted nothing more than to kill us. Like I know that that's the narrative that we tell our children.
Right.
Why did we need to put the same narrative like again in a movie? Like you didn't have any type of opportunity to do it any differently. Now that's me judging it from a 2.5 minute trailer. It's very possible that there are pieces, because we know how trailers are. You put your sexy parts in there. It could be that there are other things in there, and I'm coming to a preconceived notion. What I am saying is, based on the trailer, this movie looks like it is a flag waving propaganda fest.
I have no interest in watching this movie.
I don't know, man. I don't know
which one. The first one or all 4 of them?
All of them. I don't know where the fuck James Cameron went off and encouraged a bunch of motherfuckers to make. First of all, releasing so close together is crazy in a theater. Now, if we're talking streaming, I'd be like, all right, that seems to make sense. He'd be off to a better start than Zack Snyder trying to drop one film and then waiting the whole summer to drop another film. But like, okay, cool. Like maybe I can understand that, but I don't know.
Hang on. So I'm only seeing 2 parts right now. Obviously, that doesn't mean it.
Because those are the first 2 that are going to be released.
Oh my gosh.
Like those are the first 2, part 1 and part 2. But he's on record saying that there's going to be 4 of them.
I guess.
This?
I mean, it's WB production.
Yeah, it sounds like he also put up some of his own money to make this, because there's a quote here where he said, "We have a lot of Westerns that aren't good because they get too simplified, but this isn't Disneyland. These are real lives. People just making their way, women trying to keep their families clean and fed. I'm drawn to that. I'm always going to get my gunfight, but I'm drawn to the little things people had to endure. I'm going to skip ahead." He goes, "It was worth holding on to because it was a story I wanted to tell." And then he said, like, it grew and grew and grew until suddenly I realized I just had to make it. And I had to look to myself financially to do it. This man sounds like he put up some of his own money to make this movie.
I don't trust that quote to tell the native side of any story.
No, not at all.
I mean, if that's the quote and that's your passion, I don't trust that man. Now, I don't know him from a lick of nothing. And maybe they bring in professionals, and I'm hoping they bring in experts to kind of tell that history accurately and have accurate representation.
Right.
But I don't trust it based off of that quote.
Now, I'm going to give you another quote. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay.
I'm pulling up another quote from
All
the
right, you
from the
pull up
story.
that quote. Here's the thing. This is just first looks from the trailer, and I watched the trailer. Like, it's very possible they tell a multifaceted story, including native populations. It is totally possible, and that it could blow us away. I just don't see that in the ingredients, but I'm gonna wait for the final dish, right?
Yep.
I'm just saying, I'm looking at the ingredients here. I'm a little nervous about what you're gonna make.
He's about to give you the quote I'm about to read is the all lives matter equivalent of why he made this movie.
No.
Here it is. Regarding the film's depiction of clashes between white settlers and indigenous people, Costner said, quote, I'm ashamed of what happened. I don't know. I'm ashamed of what happened. I don't know that I'm ashamed or embarrassed, but I want to project what really happened. There was a great injustice that occurred in the West, but it doesn't minimize the courage it took for my ancestors to cut loose and go there.
What?
No,
he did not say that. That's not a quote.
I am reading this verbatim, hand to God. I will share my screen.
Douglas, read it again. Douglas, read it again.
Okay. Well, let me share it so you know that I'm not making shit up.
This is bullshit. I cannot believe you just said that. I cannot believe he said that shit.
Like,
you got the balls to say that?
Yep. Oh wow. Yeah, he's on record.
I cannot believe you said that shit.
Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm ashamed of what happened, but I don't know that I'm ashamed or embarrassed. I want to project what really happened, he said. There was a great injustice occurred in the West, but it doesn't minimize the courage it took for my ancestors to cut loose and go there. And I recognize the resourcefulness it took and the bravery it took to leave and make this march across this country.
I can't believe he just said that.
It's just a movie that shows the class of cultures. It's our history. I love it.
Wow. That's dog shit. That's what that is. Hey, brother. Hey, Kevin. That's dog shit, brother. That's dog shit. And I can't believe you said that. Had the guts to go there. Had the guts to go there.
They didn't have
to big up your own ancestors and minimize what actually happened to the indigenous people and the indigenous community and those that were obviously there before you, but you want to tell the story about how your people had the guts to go there.
Here's what it sounds like. Like, it's not like this is what the curated statement is, for Pete's sake. But what it feels like is like, yeah, there was some bad stuff that happened, but like
it looks cool,
right? It's cool that you go somewhere new and you go there. Isn't that cool? Like, that's what it feels like. And it's like, no, Kevin Costner, no, that's not cool. No, it's not cool. Like, people were living there, man. Like,
and like I said,
Kevin Costner, you ass hat. Why would you say that? Do you know how many people in communities like you? I can't believe y'all. I can't believe you said this shit. That we had the guts to go there and how resourceful we were to what? Kick people out, to kill them, to rape and to pillage and to take all of their resources and spill blood. That's the shit that you were like, we went there. That's my people's.
And here's what I'm going to say. I encourage those who are listening, watching, I encourage the both of you to watch the trailer, because I think what you'll end up seeing, we don't have to see the movie, but like what I think is worth watching is the trailer, because I think what it highlights is that point, Marcus, is that, okay, I get it. There is something to be said. As someone who is a history major, there is something to be said for accurately portraying what happened, right? Like there is something to be said for accurately portraying what happened. However, when you say on paper, it's our history, but then you have a movie where you're showing people say things like, these folks want nothing more than to burn everything that we have, and it's our right to be here. Like that is the accurate, like Western way of looking at it. You didn't present the other side. That's not an accurate representation. All
This
you're
pisses
giving
me
me is
off,
the same thing that I see when I read a modern history textbook, which is a whitewashed version of events that weren't actual reality.
Not to mention, you get the privilege, right? Of, and I'm sorry, Kevin Costner,
Mhm.
you have to be you got to be on the pedestal to
Mhm.
take this, right? Because you said that shit. You get the privilege of determining the history you want to tell, while in other situations and in other states, they ban the history and the retelling of certain parts of history to whitewash it. They called a slave a blacksmith in Florida and said that he got tools from that and that it was like a fair trade in the skills that a blacksmith learned during slavery. No, they were a slave. Yes.
Yes, there
Yes,
was
Brian.
language in Florida. Brian,
That was like,
language in
yes,
they
Brian.
wanted to push language that said that it wasn't really slavery because they were equipped with like school tools and trade skills that made them more successful.
That makes me want to run through a brick wall.
It makes me want to die.
So Kevin, yeah, you get the history of putting your own, you get the privilege of putting your own money up to tell the story that you want to tell of your ancestors, which you're like, whoop-de-doo, you got to tell your history too. You know,
And-
I get it. I will say, to be fair, you want to tell your history. I want to tell my history. You got the money to do it? Cool. Because if I had the money, I would do mine.
Well,
but you better tell it accurate. You better do that shit right. Because the shit that you saying on paper is disgusting.
It's awful. That is,
and
I don't know. That's so disrespectful. If I was, yeah, I'll just leave it there.
And here's the last thing I'm going to say before we close this out and move over to the bonus. I think that, Kevin, you are absolutely right. It is well within your ability, given the resources that you have access to tell your ancestors' story. What I don't think that you comprehend with a statement like that is that there are people that are living the reality of your ancestors' story right now in the state that I reside in, are living in conditions that are far substandard to even third world countries on Native American reservations, and they are ignored because of the decisions your ancestors made. So yes, you're right. You have a right to tell your story, but what I think you are going to miss and what no one will gather is the implications of the story. Like, that's fine. Tell whatever story you want to tell, but we can't sit here and say, oh, that happened in a vacuum. It didn't. It never did. And it never will. So go ahead and tell your one-sided occurrence of what happened. It's not going to capture with any measure the reality of the world that has been created as a result.
Man, fuck off. Fuck that movie. I ain't watching it, and kiss my ass. Next.
And then the gall to make it a 4-part fucking movie. Like,
I mean,
I would have been down. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say he's sold like a bunch of property to get to this 100 million production budget. So they spent $100 million to shoot the first 2 chapters. And he had to self-finance it. What did he sell? He mortgaged real estate. So basically he sold some houses to pull together the 100 million.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, there you go.
Whatever.
Yep, whatever, Kevin Costner.
And it's 47 days between releases. Like they're not even Harry Pottering this. Like they're not. It's just
they are not.
47. It's 47
Who's the
days.
Audience is my question. Like,
I
know you want this to be big.
I can tell you, but you're not gonna like.
I mean, I know who it is too. It's probably the January 6th at this point. But like, I guess it's sorry. That's very judgmental. I'm just very heated right
I
now.
do feel like though it is going to be targeted towards men between like the 35 and 70 demographic.
Here's the thing. My mom loves Westerns. Right?
I do too. I love Westerns.
I love a good Western.
I love Western. I love a good Western too. That shit you said on paper is foul. Boy. That shit you said is foul, dog. It's foul. Yeah, that's what you're saying is foul. And you didn't even have to say it, I feel like.
Well, and you look at stuff like, I'm totally blanking on the name. Go ahead, Doug.
I was just gonna say, like, it is. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I know who the audience is. I know what these movies try to accomplish. I mean, you think by telling our history, it makes people aware, but I just, again, and
It
the
feels
other
like
thing
one of
is,
those. It wasn't as bad as it wasn't as bad as it's being told that it was.
and not to mention, what are you trying to accomplish that other things haven't done
Right.
ostensibly better? Like I have been, I did watch 1883, which is a part of the Yellowstone universe. And that was a fantastic telling of how we settled the West and did a really good job of
Yeah.
showing that dichotomy. I
Mhm.
mean, it did a very good job visually of showing the conditions of Native peoples during this mass expanse in our
Sure.
natives' history.
Sure.
And you're over here being like, I'm going to do it myself because I can do it better. The ball's on you, man. Like that's a statement. Like
I mean,
that's a lot of hubris there to be like, I'm good at this and I'm better at this because Dances with Wolves.
I guess I would not feel that confidence without
Me neither.
writing it with someone from the Native community.
Exactly.
That would be a very
Exactly.
bold thing. Like, I just think it's a very bold thing to say when you don't have their input and you're lionizing courage
You
at
better.
the same time of saying this is a bad thing that happened. But think about the courage to do those bad things.
Again, like I
what-
said, it was the
dude,
all lives
what?
matter equivalent.
The movie I was thinking of, by the way, was Unforgiven, which I
Mhm.
feel like is a Western that gets to this idea of like, oh,
Yep.
this is kind of like what it was actually like, and it demystifies some of these like mythological aspects of the West. Like, no, actually, it would be terrible if you were a bounty hunter trying to track
Mhm.
these people down. Gunfights are lethal, and you don't go out in a blaze of glory. You just bleed out in a ditch, and it's sad, you
Mhm.
know. And I feel like that's something Unforgiven does really well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yep. And yeah, again, I have nothing else. This is just, I wanted to bring it up because it was just such an affront to like everything. Like it was just a lot,
I
you
mean,
guys.
yeah, that's certainly a thing you can say.
Yeah, that was certainly a statement. So, like I said, I'm gonna post that link to the Hollywood Reporter so you can read the
All
article
right.
yourself. I encourage you to watch the trailer because I think these comments by themselves are terrible enough, but then you actually see like a version of the movie and you're like, oh no, I see what he was doing. I see what he was going for. So, gentlemen, let's close this out as we start to get ready to do the bonus. So, Marcus, Brian, what do you guys got to plug?
Hey folks, I'm here to tell you about Color Me Confetti, my wife's decoration shop on Etsy. Go to etsy.com, type in Color Me Confetti, all one word in that search bar. You can find all types of party decorations. You can print at home. You don't have to leave your house. It's great. That's Color Me Confetti on Etsy.
Marcus, what do you got?
Make sure you follow the mantra, never offended, always humble, or NOAH for short. Go ahead, buy yourself some merch. Go ahead, listen to some music. But whatever you do, make sure you follow the mantra, sport the mantra, live the mantra, never offended, always humble.
Absolutely. I want to plug this podcast. If you are listening, just recommend us to a friend or a family member, especially if you appreciated our discussion. So very excited about that. If you feel like you want to support us, go over to patreon.com/films in black and white, sign up for one of our tiers, become a part of the production crew, and just join us here. We're always happy to have the support.
And we got Roman in the chat. There's a baby coming in his life in the next 2 weeks.
All
Congrats.
Congratulations, my brother.
I knew
Congratulations.
this, but I didn't know it was so close. So that's
I
amazing.
also did not.
I don't know how much babies weigh, but I think it's a boy, and I think that
Under
he's
10
going to
pounds.
weigh 8.5 ounces. I don't know if that's good.
8 pounds.
8 pounds, 5 ounces.
8 pounds, 5 ounces.
8 ounces is essentially a chicken breast. So,
well, I'm gonna say girl. I'm gonna say girl, and somewhere around the 7 pounds area. Good luck to you all, Roman and family.
I'm gonna say girl as well, and I'm gonna go 8 pounds 2 ounces.
Motherfucker.
And Marcus is locked in at 8 ounces.
Marcus is locked in at whatever the size chicken cutlet is. That's what he's going for.
Amazing.
Brian, we have a 3-step process to
We sure
success.
do.
What is that first step, sir?
Hey folks, read a book. Read any book. Honestly, that's my energy right now after Kevin Costner. Just
read a history text.
like
read a history book, please.
like any
Motherfucker.
book. Please empathize with somebody's perspective. That's all.
Other
Just
than
read
your
it.
own.
Just
Yeah.
read a fucking book, you idiot.
Seriously.
Marcus, second step, please, sir.
Make sure you drink some water. You know what I mean? You already know what it is. Drink yourself to some agua. While we love bubblers, straight up water is also very good for you. Make sure your piss ain't knocking you out when you're taking a piss. You know what I mean? Don't make your knees buckle. Drink some water.
Drink some water. Last and certainly not least, look, wash your ass, y'all. We are getting closer and closer to spring, and while we might be on the roller coaster between winter and spring weather, that doesn't change the fact that you're about to enter out into the world where it's 50 degrees, and on days like today where it's 70, that means you're going to sweat unexpectedly, and that means you're going to be sweaty unexpectedly. So make sure you wash your ass, take care of yourself. Because not only you will thank you, but the people around you will thank you. So be sure to wash your ass. Our step 4 this week from Roman is don't clean your windows too much. Protect the birds. Good advice. Also, don't have to be startled by a thud in the middle of the afternoon.
Or predict the future and save the bird.
That's
That's a nice Cassie Webb reference for y'all.
Look at you. Look at you.
Nice little Madam Webb.
I remember.
I'm proud of you. We will be back next week. Very special episode next week. Stephanie Williams is coming back to the pod, y'all. We're gonna have some great energy next week. If you thought it was chaos this week, I will more than likely quit. I will more than likely quit next week. So here we are.
What movie we watching next week? Underwater.
It's gonna be great.
Underwater, starring Kristen Stewart.
We are watching Underwater. So, but in the meantime and in the between time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We will catch y'all next